Howdy everyone, it's your buddy BP back at it again with another Smite video of me playing as Ganesh. Man, Ganesh is so fun to play, especially in Arena. He's just so good at team fights. And yeah, I know it's been a minute since I've uploaded a video. 2019 has been a very busy year for me. I've spent pretty much all of it concentrating mostly on my career. So I haven't really had a lot of time to record and make videos. In fact, I haven't had too much time to play Smite. It's the kind of thing I only pop in and play every once in a while. But I still like playing Smite. I still like popping in. In fact, this match was only from a couple days ago. Really good. I think I had something like seven kills. Of course, they all go to my teammates because, you know, Ganesh and all that. But still a really fun match. I enjoyed it a lot. I've been looking for an opportunity to upload it. And I just found one. Kind of a awkward opportunity because just a heads up, I'm going to be discussing something a little bit on the socio-political side, something I typically try to avoid in my videos, but I'll give you a little bit of context. Just earlier today, I got a comment, because sometimes I still get comments in my videos, even though I haven't uploaded in like forever. And I got an upload on one of my older videos, I think from a couple years ago. I don't have my notes with me right now. I was playing a game of, I believe it was Joust, and and it wasn't going very well. Admittedly, I wasn't doing very good. It was definitely not my proudest moment in Smite. But I was playing a game of Joust, and things weren't going so well, and my teammate was getting tilted, and he was saying some pretty racist stuff. Now, maybe this makes me weird. Maybe this makes me kind of strange, but I'm the kind of guy who subscribes to the mentality that being bad at a video game isn't sufficient reason to treat people like shit. You know, maybe that just makes me a weirdo, I don't know, but it's just something I've always kind of believed. But yeah, he was kind of being an asshole. He was saying some pretty racist things, so I decided to kind of make a video about it, sort of exposing him just a little bit, going, hey, you know, don't be acting like this. You know, when you're playing video games, you know, it's just not appropriate. Like, what the hell's wrong with people? And every once in a while, I get comments on videos like that. And I got one the other day from I think, I don't have my notes right, with me right here. I think a username called Fear the Yeti. And I'll go ahead and put up what he said right here. But it was mostly consisting of him trying to kind of apologize for this guy by basically, you know, validating his racism about how, like, oh, I shouldn't be upset about people using racist language because, like, ooh, you know, your father wouldn't have let you grown up in a community around black folks because, and then he bounced off a lot of even more racist shit than I saw in that video about him jumping to the conclusion that, like, apparently being around black folks is like being around the fucking cross. You know, like, it's nothing but rape and murder around every corner, and when you leave your house, you gotta have your body armor and your AR or whatever, you know, if you want to survive out there. But yeah, I read this and I was kind of disgusted for two reasons. First off, the obvious one is because of the just the blatant racism in there. Like, that was just fucking gross, man, just saying what he did. But I was also kind of tilted by this arrogant assumption that he just knew the kind of person I was and, like, how I lived and how I was raised. That he just assumed that I didn't live in a neighborhood where there were black folks, and my father wouldn't have tolerated that, which was extremely untrue. Now, I've mentioned this in one of my past videos. I'll leave a link down in the comment section, or rather, excuse me, in the description if you want to see it, where I mentioned this before. It was in a video where I was talking about that time where PewDiePie got tilted and used the N-word on a stream and wound up in some hot water for it. So I've mentioned this before, but I live in the South. I live in the deep South. And I grew up not in Atlanta, not like inner city Atlanta, but I grew up in South Metro Atlanta, like just like less than an hour south of Atlanta, where it's like all suburbs and everything. And the thing about Atlanta, and a good part of the South really, is that a lot of black folks live here. Not sure if some of y'all knew that. It's very true. You don't believe it? Look up the census data. It will prove my point. And I lived in a part of the country, and I was raised in a part of the country where there was a very dense population of black folks. And the high school that I went to, and I think maybe the middle school too, but definitely the high school, it was either majority black, or it was definitely the racial makeup was far more black than it was any other race. Which means I was technically a racial minority. As a white guy, I was technically a racial minority in my own high school growing up. Now that might be terrifying to some folks like Fear the Yeti, because he hears that and he's probably all like, black people, zoink Scoob, and then he like retreats behind his little Pelafort made out of copies of the Turner Diaries or whatever the hell. But I'm telling you right now, I grew up in that high school, in this majority black community in the suburbs, and I'm telling you, it was fine. It was cool. It was a pretty good upbringing, I would say. It was just like any other high school in America. You know, we had proms, we had football games. You know, kids still do stupid shit. They get in fights in the halls over ridiculous things, and, you know, they start food fights, and, you know, they just get in trouble and stuff. You know, it's just like any other place in America. It's just that it was, the racial makeup was a bit more varied here than it probably would be out in, say, like, the Midwest. It's just, it's how it was. And it wasn't bad. I wasn't living in some sort of horrible dystopia where people were frequently mistreating me because of my race. There was still a sizable population of white kids there, too. But, I mean, for the most part, we all got along fine. And I made plenty of friends, white friends, black friends. Some of them I'm still friends with today. I don't live in South Metro Atlanta anymore. I moved away from there years ago. But I still live in the South. And I still occasionally make trips down to where I used to live, because my dad still lives down there, and he actually still lives in the house where I grew up in when I was in high school. Of course, he doesn't. My parents don't live together anymore. They broke up years ago, but my dad still lives in that house, and it's still a nice community. It's still a really great place to live. And I was just taken offense by his assumption that my dad was racist, and that he wouldn't have liked to live in a place where there was black folks, and that it must have been miserable. But it wasn't true. He still lives there in that place. You know, he has black neighbors, and he gets along with some of them, and he doesn't get along with others. And for the ones he doesn't get along with, it's not because they're black, but, you know, over just trivial shit like, oh, he doesn't think they do a good enough job taking care of the crabgrass and in their lawn. You know, it's just typical cranky old white man shit. You know how it is. But yeah, and I'm still friends with some of my old black friends from there. Whenever I'm in town, I hit them up, and usually we go out, we get some drinks, or maybe we play some video games and just catch up. And I'm still friends with a lot of them. Of course, not all of them. You know, some of them moved away too. They had families and they got jobs elsewhere. It's just how it is when you get older. Friends just kind of drift apart. But I'm telling you right now, as a high school experience, it was pretty good. You know, sure, like, you know, not everyone's going to agree on the same thing between, like, the white friends and the black friends. Like, sure, like, we all had different tastes in music. Like, us white kids, you know, we were listening to, like, Metallica and Korn and stuff like that. And, you know, the black kids over here listening to, like, Dr. Dre. And, you know, we didn't, like, sync up as far as those tastes. But that wasn't, like, sufficient reason not to hang out. We were kind of a nerdy clique. But we did sort of click together on the things that we did agree on, the things we did like, and those were like three things. Those were video games, pro wrestling, and anime. We loved those three things, and that was what we kind of bonded over, and it was great. You know, we would hang out and play Halo 1, and we would do stuff. We would, like, you know, share like episodes of like Trigun that we downloaded off of Kazaa, because that's all we had back in the day. Cause, you know, this was like, you know, we're talking late 90s, early 20-aughts. You know, that's how we got our shit back in the day. We didn't have like BitTorrent or anything. And we would do that, and we got along, and race just was rarely a factor in anything. We almost never really had to worry about it. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, and for all I know, maybe for some folks it was that way. But that's not how it was for me. Things were civil, and maybe it's because I was just always a polite kid growing up. You've seen my videos, you know how I usually end it by saying, you know, y'all be good to each other. That's just not some, you know, thing that I came up with because I thought it sounded cool to put at the end of a video. You know, I really meant that. You know, I try to, when I was a kid, I tried to, you know, always be polite and respectful to other folks, and, you know, not use certain words, you know, in the presence of certain other people. That's just how I was. So maybe my experience was definitely different from other folks who lived in the South, but I'm telling you right now, it was a good experience, and I liked it. And I kind of took offense to this guy making assumptions about me. You know, he doesn't know me. I just made this one video on YouTube where I was just kind of calling out this dude for being a salty racist, and all of a sudden he's got to come and white knight him for saying all the nasty shit he did. And I responded to him in a comment saying, hey, listen, man, you know, don't jump to conclusions about me. You know, I lived in this community, and it was great. You know, we all got together. We all got along just fine. It wasn't that big of an issue. You know, white folks and black folks can be friends and be civil. I know that sounds crazy to certain people, but it's true. And I told him this, and man, he got tilted. He hit me with a comment barrage about how I must be full of shit and I must be lying. You know, I have to show him evidence to prove that that apparently I was able to be civil with black folks in high school, because apparently that's not something that, you know, you need common sense to understand. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, you know, what are you supposed to do with something like that? You know, do I need to build a time machine and take his ass back to the early 90s? Back when I was rocking spiked hair and steel-toed boots and show him that, yeah, this is just how it was. You know, what am I supposed to do? You know, you can't really do anything about that. Folks like that have already made up their mind about what they feel and what they think. You know, this is the guy who was just dealing in hyperbole about, you know, black folks and what he thinks it's like to live around them. But no, he's the one who insists on having proof about about how I lived in the South and got along with black folks just fine in high school. I don't know. It's just absolutely nuts. And I just felt compelled to talk about it because just the arrogance that this guy had of just assuming the way people are. Now maybe he's not capable of being civil with folks of other races. I don't know. But I can tell you I was, and a lot of my friends were too. Now, the one thing he did say true is, like, the only way you could have not had trouble with black folks was, like, if you were some sort of, like, Chad jock or something like that. And no, I wasn't. I wasn't a jock. I was a very nerdy kid. You know, I was in, like, 4-H club and shit. Which was also a good experience where I interacted with other kids of different races. And it was just fine, too. I made a lot of friends. I actually made a few girlfriends with that. Definitely recommend the 4-H club for any youngins out there. That was a very good experience for me. But, yeah. I was just flabbergasted by how angry he got for me, like, just telling him, like, hey, you know, what you're saying just isn't true. Man, he got tilted. So I was like, you know what, I'll do a video where I talk about it, because I just felt compelled to talk about it. I'm not here trying to win this guy over, you know, get him to agree with me, because this guy's already made up his mind about what he thinks and what he feels. But I do want to just kind of reach out and talk about this, because it just seems like as the years gone on, racial animosity in America has just gotten to like some sort of crazy fever pitch. My mouth is dry. I need to get me a drink of water. And I just see so much of it. And I've always kind of went on the assumption as the years would go on, we would see less and less of that, because folks would just be more mature and, you know, learn to get along the way I and my friends did. But I don't know. It's just sort of crazy to see that. And I just want to reach out to folks like, hey, don't go around assuming things about other people so you can, like, just have certain, you know, fit certain narratives about other people like that. It's arrogant, it's stupid, it's wrong. It just makes you look foolish. It makes you look like you just don't know what you're talking about. It's just rude. You know, don't make those assumptions. Now, I understand that my experience is very different. I'm pretty sure most white kids in America probably went to a high school where they were dealing with a mostly white student body. And my experience was different, but you know, it wasn't like a horror show. It was a fine experience. It was just like everywhere else. Sure, I'm not gonna say it was like Utopia. You know, kids got into fights too, and you know they would, you know, say shit they shouldn't have. But between my friends and I, it was fine. It was okay. And you know, I think the rest of the country can be like that too, where we can all just not have to just be at each other's throats and just assume shit about other folks, which is just so gross. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just worried about some of the young folks in America. I understand it's a very ugly time to be young in America. You know, it doesn't seem like there's many opportunities out there, and it's easy to get angry and blame certain people for those problems, because it is pretty scary. But I mean, resorting to racism is just that's a cowardly way out. That's just an ignorant way to be dealing with your problems. But yeah, I just kind of felt like venting that, getting that off my chest. You know, if y'all want, I just wonder, you know, maybe there's folks out there who listen to this who had an experience growing up in, maybe in the South like I did, who didn't have to, deal with this. Oh my God, I'm just at a loss for words. I'm still a little tilted about all of that, but this is about as angry as I get. Like I say, I try to keep things mellow. I'm not typically an angry person, unless I'm playing like Dark Souls or some shit. Yeah, I get pretty angry doing that. But yeah, that's it. This match is almost over. I think I've gone on long enough. I'm interested to know what y'all think. Just go ahead and let me know down in the comment section. I will be making more content in the future. I'm actually working on a commentary-free long play of Yakuza 0, which is a game I enjoy. Like I said, it's going to be commentary-free. I've never been all that good on live commentary on my games. You can go watch my playthrough of Dark Souls Remastered or Paradigm if you want to see that. But I am working on that. It'll probably take a while for me to finish it. Yakuza 0 is a long game. It's almost like a JRPG. It's that long. But that's it. This video is almost over. I'm going to leave it here. If you like this video, then spank that like button. Also, leave me a comment down in the comment section if you have anything you just want to share with me or get off your chest. And, of course, make sure you're respectful about it, unlike this Fear the Yeti fella. You know, try to be civil, please. You know, try to act like a grown adult. And that'll just about do it. Y'all be good to each other. And I will see you in the next video.
An enemy has been slain. Ow! That sucks.